both of these trucks have an MSRP of around $84,000. That's kind of crazy. The Tundra Capstone over here is more of a luxury truck, while the Ram RHO is more of an off-road race truck. But in this video, we're actually going to compare some of the features and quality of materials that you get for $84,000 from Toyota versus Ram. And let's just start this with the keys, man. Toyota, very simple, doesn't really say anything, very lightweight. The Ram key is actually significantly heavier, and it even says Ram RHO on the back, which is pretty cool. Let's talk about appearances real quick. The Tundra is getting a little old, right? It's about 3 to 4 years into its model cycle right now. Ram actually recently updated their trucks with some nice refreshes to the headlights, but the Toyota over here, we do get some LED lights. You get the DRLs. You also get sequential turn signals, but I actually like Ram's a little bit more. These headlights look very modern, very nice, very kind of sleek, honestly, in a way. And both of them do have LED fog lights. I do want to touch on these mirrors. So I do like that Ram has a little convex mirror in it for some blind spot. They also do have blind spot monitoring, whereas on the Tundra over here, just a kind of standard mirror, but their actual blind spot logo actually looks a lot better for quality. Speaking of quality too, I think Toyota's paint is actually a little bit better than Ram's over here. So I haven't really noticed any flaws in this truck, and we have a lot of pine trees here, and since this is a Toyota press vehicle, I was trying to keep this thing clean for them, taking off all the sap and stuff that gets onto the hood. You can see this little red thing right here on the paint, which I've actually been getting off of this truck while I've had it. And that is the same over here with the Ram. But you can see in the paint, and I'm not sure if it's just because of the clear coat being so thin or something, but right here, I've tried to buff this out, and I think that the paint and the clear coat is a little too thin on the Ram. So that's a point for Toyota with better paint, and also a point for Ram for the mirrors and just the overall appearance of the truck. Coming to the back too now, Ram has gone a little bit modern with a capless gas cap right here. This one also requires 91 octane. So if you're gonna get this RHO or the tungsten, you're gonna have to run premium fuel, which could be more expensive. Over here on the Tundra, if we go to the gas cap, it's actually a button on the inside, which is pretty nice. So, you know, people can't do stuff with your gas. So since this is the standard hybrid, you have to press that. And once you open this up, you just have a traditional gas cap. Guys, this comparison video has actually been sponsored by DoorDash, which is pretty wild. And they have an exclusive offer, which I'll share with you at the end. So I've been using DoorDash for quite a while, and it's not because I'm lazy at all. It's for me and my wife to actually maximize our time so we can be super productive in our workday. We do things with DoorDash like getting our groceries with them. When I'm out in Arizona and I miss Bree for a while, I get her flowers on DoorDash. So I'll find a local florist within us that's on DoorDash, go ahead and order my flowers, and then I send them to her in their same day delivery, which is actually pretty nice. Yes, occasionally, you know, sometimes we order food as well, which is nice because, you know, if we don't want to take the time to go out to a restaurant or make something and we just do stuff at our house, DoorDash is there for you as well. So the exclusive offer, guys, TRD John 50 saves you guys 50%, upwards of $10 max when you guys spend $15 or more on DoorDash. I will leave a link and my discount code so you guys can download the app in the description. Thank you, DoorDash, so much for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to the comparison now. Now, the last major difference on the outside is going to come to the bed and the tailgate area. Over here on the Ram, we have an automatic tailgate, and listen how quiet this is. When I go ahead and open it, very quiet. We have some beeping going on. We also have the rail tie down system in this. A lot bigger of a bed because it is a standard metal bed, which is nice. We also have the inverter over there, max of 4,000 watts, and some LED bed lights, which is pretty nice. Now over here on the Tundra, you also do have an automatic tailgate, but check out kind of how loud it is. So if we open it up, so a little bit louder. We do have a composite bed. We have the same sort of inverter right over here. Nice LED bed lights. The Tundra's bed lights are actually a little bit brighter than the Rams. And then our integrated rail up here is at a lot higher of a spot. And this is actually included with this composite bed in the Tundra versus it being a full upgrade package over there on the Ram. Now, if we go ahead and close this thing up, a little bit loud, but we also have an automatic step that deploys right there and it's about to go back up, which is nice. Now, the cool thing on the Tundra is that if you press this button right here, let's say you had some things in your hands, you could go ahead and open up the tailgate, which that is a pretty nice feature. Toyota debuted that on the Tundra, but then on the Tacoma, they gave it to you on both sides. And for some reason on the Tundra, they just didn't include that. I don't know why, but it is still a nice feature to have for the automatic tailgate. My Ram over here, I'm not sure if you can get Ram with an automatic step. I'm sure you probably could with the tungsten, but as of right now, for the RHO, you can't. We're gonna go ahead and lift this back up. That was so fast and so quiet. Toyota's is almost like using the technology that they use in their hatches, but whatever, it's all good. So for the outside, I mean, it just depends on appearances. It depends on what you like. Again, I definitely think that Toyota's quality of paint is a little bit better. My Ram actually has some runs, like in the tailgate. You could notice that the paint kind of ran down a little bit right here. So quality-wise, for the Tundra on the outside, I feel like is a little bit better paint than the Ram. I know that people have issues with these side things kind of flying off or coming off in car washes. Their door handles, they move around a little bit over here on the Ram. Pretty solid actually, but where the Ram shines is in the interior. So let's go ahead and just do that now. Let's just jump right into it, the interiors of these trucks. So both big, nice 4-doors, pretty cool, automatic seats. When you get up to this grade of Tundra, you have semi-aniline leather seats. These are super soft, very nice material. However, the seats themselves, not insanely comfortable. The door, you're gonna get some soft touch all on the door and then some plastic right here. The door does make some noise because it's plastic on plastic. And of course the center console right here also still does make some noise. Now the grab handle of the Tundra, I actually like a little bit more because it's nice and thick. It looks like a truck. And then we have soft touch materials all right here on the dash, but then plastic right over here. Soft touch material continues. Now, what I do like about the Tundra is the 14-inch screen. I'm going to touch on the vertical screen in that truck in a second, but this 14-inch screen is very, very nice. So, because if you put this thing into reverse with the full 360 camera view, obviously it doesn't flicker in real life, but you have quite a bit of space to see everything. Now this center gauge cluster right here, it's a 12.3-inch gauge cluster, but it's not very customizable. You can't really do a whole lot on this gauge cluster. I'm sure with when the refresh comes from Toyota, you'll be able to do a lot more in that. This truck also has heated ventilated seats. We have a single wireless charger right here. The center console has a cool little trick function where you can open that, slide this, you can open it from the passenger side or also the driver's side to give you quite a bit of space. And you have a USB-A and actually a USB-C right down there. I forgot that Toyota integrated that in newer models of the Tundra. You have your backup assist right here, fully integrated trailer brake, and all of our 4-wheel drive systems right down here. Now, when I sit in this truck, this seat is decently comfortable. It's not a horrible seat by any means, but you know, it's definitely not like that Ram over there. So if you're trying to be comfortable, you can do massaging seats. Both of these trucks have that. On the Toyota though, you have to go all the way into this screen right here. So I have to go ahead and I have to press car. I have to press seat controls. The only option is massage, but for some reason I have to press that again. And now if I'm a driver right here, I have to reach all the way over to press the driver's seat. And then we have all of our options right here. Now, if I want to turn it on, I have to reach even further and yes, turn the power on. And the massaging seats, they actually feel pretty decent in this truck. But as for that, you know, we do have some nice soft touch right here, piano black material, which I'm not the biggest fan of, and then just some minor plastic throughout the rest of the interior. No real shelf space over there for the passenger. This truck, because it is a standard hybrid, just lacks storage everywhere. So as we come to the back seats back here, they are heated and ventilated rear seats, which is pretty nice. But if we lift this up, because this is a standard hybrid, we have no storage right under here. We also have a transmission tunnel right there, and we have a nice grab handle, leather wrapped as well in the back. Go ahead and sit on in it. We have a good amount of space back here. You also have peasant blockers right there. One thing that I like about the Tundra is we have some cup holders right here. We do have some more cup holders up there. And also, of course, for the rear seat, we have just nice cup holders right there and an armrest. However, I am sweating. However, the Ram does it a little bit better. So that's the interior of the Tundra. I think it could be a lot better for $84,000, honestly, especially when we go into the Ram. So Ram, in my opinion, has the best interiors out there right now. Not that I didn't believe everyone when I watched their videos and stuff, but until I finally got into the Ram, bro, it is so nice in here. So check out the RHO's interior. I know this isn't a tungsten, so we can't be like super close to a Capstone grade, which is the flagship grade of that luxury for Tundra, but it gives you a good idea of what Ram is offering for $84,000. So we have Alcantara right here on the door, all this leather right here, real carbon fiber, all of our memory seat adjustments, which we do have in the Tundra. The Tundra gives you a JBL sound system, whereas this one has a Harman Kardon. Big thing about that is, one, this sound system sounds a lot better, and two, these doors, they don't rattle when you actually bump it up. So when you turn up the JBL sound system on the Tundra, you can hear the doors tinging and rattling and other rattling going on. I don't hear that at all in the RHO. But even right down here, you know, nice soft touch materials where all this was plastic on the Tundra, and this doesn't make any noise at all. Our plastic actually starts a little bit lower in the door. We have some cup holders right down here, and also you have pedal adjustment. So you don't have that in the Tundra, so you can fully customize and adjust your pedals. We also have heated, ventilated, just standard leather seats in this one. As we climb on in, you could see that the grab handle is a little bit skinnier. However, I have more room for my hand, which is nice. And when I get in, guys, this seat's like a freaking lazy boy. It is so comfortable in this truck to just sit in here. So look at this center console compared to Tundra's. So we have two cup holders right here. We also have the hideaway. So that's kind of in the same spot as Tundra. Same gear lever, but this gear lever feels very buttery smooth when you move it. And then look at all of these ports right down here. So we have 3 USB-Cs, 3 USB-As, and HDMI as well. You're like, what the heck? Why? Well, because we have a screen over there for the passenger side. We have a full vertical screen, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I am for some applications, but not everything. And then we have 2 wireless chargers that actually have little rubber pads on them, so your phone stays nice in place. So we're gonna go ahead, fire this thing up. This feels a little bit cheaper than the Tundra's does. I don't like the way this plastic just kind of jiggles around, but we have the vertical screen. A lot of tech and a lot of upgrades in this Ram, honestly. The dashboard, it's also all leather wrapped, all until over here. And we also have some Alcantara right there. Both of these trucks do have a digital mirror, which is nice. So my main thing with this screen is that when you put it into reverse, our camera, and you can see how much a little bit laggier the Ram is over the Tundra, our 360 camera view is very, very tiny. So it's very tiny in this truck versus having a fuller, bigger 14-inch screen, because this screen is technically larger than that of the Tundra. But this one, when you go into reverse and you're trying to use your full 360 camera view, it's a little bit smaller. It's not the end of the world, but it's just something that doesn't really utilize the whole giant screen, essentially. Speaking of screens, this one is very customizable. So if I press this button right here, it's gonna bring up all of my favorites and everything like that. You can adjust those, or each one of these has all of its information. So I have different speedometers that I could use on this truck. If you go up, you have your settings, messages, all your audio stuff, your distance or your trailer while you're driving, your off-road gauges and everything, which is very, very cool. The TRD Pro doesn't even have this. Navigation, it'll pull up your full navigation and everything, which is all integrated with the Ram. And then also here too, you have your trip information. And then this is pretty rad. So you have performance data. So 0 to 60 stuff you could do, quarter mile, just so much stuff. Your G-forces that you had. I mean, the options are really endless in this truck, and even all this vehicle information, you have to go searching in the Tundra to find remotely anything close to this. So you have all of your stuff from your trans temp, your coolant temp, the intake air temp, air fuel ratio, engine power, torque, oil temp, oil life, oil pressure. Like, you get so much information in the Ram. It's honestly kind of crazy. So looking at the center console now, this one, very solid, does not rattle at all. That is the big difference between this truck and the Tundra over there. I just feel that this truck is just put together so much better than that truck. That truck, when I drive it, Honestly, for 2025 for a Tundra, that thing doesn't have any wind noise. It drives very quietly, very comfortably, especially for those big 22-inch tires that it has on it. It's a little bit more bouncy than this truck, but this one does have softer off-road shocks, so I'm not really going to do a driving comparison with these vehicles. But that being said, the interior of this just feels so much more solid, and I really hope that Toyota makes the refresh of the Tundra just feel even more solid like the second-gen Tundra does, and also like the fourth-gen Tacoma does. You got it, Toyota. You can do it. But the center console right here, you have nice Alcantara on top, leather on the side. What I like is that when you open this up, you actually get like some little shelving right here to put some stuff. And then too, when you fully open it up, you have a very deep center console as well with a full inverter, it looks like, right here. So you have a full 110 outlet, no USBs in there because Ram gives you a plethora of them right there. Now, the biggest thing is, man, that seat is so comfortable. Now, one of the biggest things is when we come into the back of the Ram. So if we come into the back of it, you can see that the doors, very nice. We don't have the peasant blockers like that other one does. I believe the tungsten does come with it, but you just have nice materials all throughout here. You know, nice leather wrapped right here, the Alcantara on the side, whereas on the Tundra over here, you know, it's all leather wrapped, which is nice. Leather wrapped up here, you got the faux wood, but it's just all plastic right in those spots. So if you're putting your knee on it, again, it's just plastic on plastic, but you do have the peasant blockers if you want to block out the Ram haters or the Ram people and stuff. But since this is a gas engine with no batteries, there's storage. There's nice storage, and we have a fully flat load floor, which a lot of people like. We also have 2 USB-A's and 2 USB-C's, also heated and ventilated rear seats, and another 110 outlet right here, whereas in the Tundra, you actually just have 2 USB-C's, or you have 1 USB-C, 1 USB-A, and also the same inverter right there. So good amount of power in both of them. So where this one shines again, it's the flat loading floor. You also have this little doodad, which we can pull out to give you a little bit more storage right there if you would like. And when you pull the seat down, our cup holder in this is actually sweet. It's not right here in the seat. So you have to pull this guy down, and then you get a nice cup holder, but you also get more storage right here if you are a rear occupant that wants to put stuff there. Now, Toyota did this in the past. Climb on in. Don't have leather wrapped for the second on the B pillar right there for the rear occupants, but Toyota did this in the past. Ram has the best rear seat space in the game. However, if I pull a lever right here, we can actually recline the seat and get even more space, which is pretty sweet. So the rear cab of the Ram, definitely a lot better. And the air conditioning in here, because it is a lot warmer outside right now. It's summertime in Florida almost. The AC in the Ram too gets very, very nice and cold. So I mentioned that both of these have massaging seats. I want to show you how easy it is to do the massaging seats on the Ram. All you do is on your door, you just press this button and the massaging seats start, and you'll see how all the information of things that we want is right here close to the driver. So if I'm driving, I could touch all that stuff very easily instead of running through the screens. And if I want to turn it off, I just press the button again and it turns off. The power of the massaging seats in this feels about the same as the Tundra, maybe a tad, just a tad bit more intense, which is nice for when you're on the road trip, but it's just so much easier to just do that. Tundra didn't come out with it in the first place, so they kind of just like added it. So I guess they just added it through the infotainment screen, but it would have been nice to have a dedicated button. Now, one thing that this Tundra does have that my Ram doesn't have is actually an automatic steering wheel. So there's a button over here that will lower it and raise it and also telescope it, which is pretty nice. Now we're about to put this truck in the drive, and I do want to touch on this shifter right here. So it feels a little bit cheap. And then when we put it in the drive, it just feels pretty rough. So I'm just positioning this truck into a different spot right now, but that's just one thing that I wanted to note with the shifter. Let me show you how buttery the Ram is. So the steering wheel on the Ram, just a manual lever. So it's not the end of the day. I know that the higher end Rams, they do have an automatic steering wheel, but the shifter, so does not move around. And this is just kind of the theme of it, right? I mean, you get a lot of features, don't get me wrong, in that Capstone. It is nice and everything, but like at the end of the day, just all these materials just down to the shift lever, because Ram is doing these little dumb dial things, right? But even the rare amount of trucks that they put the shifter into, it's solid. And then it just feels so much better than the Tundra to put it into drive. I mean, you touch that thing every single time you drive the truck, right? And I just feel like if it feels cheap from it rattling around and like just putting it just simply in the gear, it's just those quality of things that you expect in an $80,000+ truck that, again, you touch every single day. You don't move the steering wheel that much. You touch this every single day. It just feels like so much more premium in the Ram. So which one wins for you guys? I know you can't really tell quality over the camera or when I touch the materials in the truck, but you guys gotta maybe go back in previous videos. I'm not dogging on this Tundra at all. I've owned 2 of them. I've had plenty of pressed vehicles. Toyota just needs to up their game for their price. The Ram interior is so much better, man. The Ram interior is just so much better. It just feels a lot better. And for that $84,000 price range, I just feel like you're getting better materials everywhere throughout the vehicle. You're getting more technology, which some people may not like because Ram's technology isn't the best. Toyota definitely has stuff dialed when it comes to their reliability with this stuff. The engines in these trucks, they're both great. Yes, there has been some issues with the Tundra engines. Some people are having some issues with the Hurricane engine, so things just got to work themselves out. They're both kind of new platforms for these brands, and they're going to have to work out the kinks. Paint-wise, like I said, on the Ram, it's not as good as the Toyota product, but as you saw when I wiggled that door and other materials in the truck, like that front bumper in this one, it is an actual steel bumper. There's recovery hooks. None of that stuff exists on any grade of the Tundra. So definitely if you're shopping between the vehicles and you're looking for options, you know, you need to build them out on the dealers' websites to just really see what options you get. But if you're coming here just for, hey, how's the quality, how's the materials and stuff on the inside, because that's where you're going to spend most of your time anyways, the Ram has the Tundra beat by far. Now, having both of these in my driveway, even though that this was a press vehicle, I get to throw miles on it, go through a tank of gas and all that stuff with it, I still enjoyed driving the RHO a little bit better. I don't know if that's because it's something new, it's not a Tundra, because I'm well versed in these Tundras, but just the comfort, the drivability, how smooth that Hurricane engine is with that ZF 8-speed versus this hybrid that's still a little clunky from Toyota. Like shifting, it feels like it's clunking all the time. I don't know. This just feels like a well-rounded, comfortable truck. This one definitely is flashy. It's nice. You get options and stuff out of it. But if I was to actually be spending $84,000 and have to just pick one of them, I'd be picking the Ram, guys. So what do y'all think? Let me know down in the comments section. I appreciate you all watching, and I will catch you in the next one. All right, see you later. And before I close out the video, a little update about the paint. I just grabbed some little compound that I have, and I just went ahead and rubbed it on the paint and wiped it off, and those little spots came out. However, they were there on this truck, whereas on the Tundra over there, all I did was just some detail spray, wiped it, and it went away on the Tundra. Maybe that's because this is a darker paint and I could see that little bit of residue, but maybe the clear coat on this Ram just isn't the best.